Yo guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we are talking about day 9 of the 2023 Intelligentsia Cup. This is Lake Bluff. This is the ACC race. Why is there no stage 8, you're wondering? Well, Elgin was canceled because of a thunderstorm. It was pretty gnarly. But here to help us talk through day number 9 is Will Harden. Welcome back to the channel, buddy.
Thanks, Jeff. This is a fun and very technical course.
This is deceptively hard. Like, yeah. Here I'm at 1,000 watts. Guys, we're 46 kilometers to go. We're super early on in this race. Breakaway's already happening, although you wouldn't know about it because look how single file strung out this field is. There's 80 riders in front of me. We make this left-hander into, what did you say, Will? The hardest straightaway in bike racing.
It really is. It's so grippy. You just have to put so much power out, and you're not going any faster.
Yeah, so I did like 1,000. Now I'm doing sustained 500-600 watts. And I'm in the draft. What is it? There's molasses on the ground. I don't know what it is, man. This is like a 2% uphill. And you can see, okay, this is what I want to show. See that little gap that was closed down? Doesn't seem like much, right? Wrong. This is how riders get dropped. And every single lap of this race, there were like 2-3 riders just dropped off the back through that straightaway. 1 kilometer laps, 50-kilometer race. You do the math. Maybe don't do the math because I don't think those numbers are going to work out. But my point is you could get gapped off so easily on this course, especially on that straightaway, and on a technical course like this, which on paper doesn't look particularly hard. It's so easy to get caught behind really dangerous situations where, you know, you're caught behind just a rider who's tired. Because if you can't corner on this course, you're in deep trouble, right, Will?
Yeah, and if everybody looks at each other in that situation, you've got to make up a lot of ground. In this technical course that takes a lot of corners.
Oh God, that same guy in the pink. Did you see he almost wiped out?
And he not being able to corner.
Speaking of not being able to corner, he clipped a pedal. He started pedaling a little too soon. Pedal hit the pavement. He almost wiped out. Another reason, to my point earlier, is why it's so important to move up, get into position, and get in front of that stuff. So you see I made a bit of an effort there to get in front of that rider in the pink. And now I'm thinking, like, again, I don't even know the breakaway is getting away, but I'm thinking, like, this is not the place to be. Closer to the front, potentially even on the front, is the right place to be on a course like this. Let's fast forward. Oh, see more gaps. And that rider in the pink, I've let him get in front of me. Let's find out how this race unfolds, if I can execute on a plan today. Yeah, so just a few kilometers later, still working on it, Will. Still thinking, how am I going to move up? And there are little moments in each race you can find openings. Like, here's one on the outside. I don't think I took the outside too often, but then Connor shuts the door on me.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, I didn't have to brake or anything, but you want to carry as much speed into this corner as possible. For the reason we mentioned, they pour molasses on this straightaway, so it really slows you down. You want to carry as much speed as possible. And again, you guys can see the amount of power it takes. Oh, it looks like my power meter cut out there for a couple of seconds. But, sustained like 700-800 watts. And, Connor's a big dude, still doing a lot of power. And I think that rider that we passed, it looked like he was in the drop zone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say so. Like, he is moving backwards quickly. Hopefully people can fill in that gap in front of him and he can recover on this next one. But you really do have to make that gamble sometimes, especially if you've been at the front burning matches and you're moving back through. Eventually you run out of people to start filling in gaps for you.
Have you ever experienced that? It's been a while for me, but I remember coming up the ranks. Like, you do a hard effort, it doesn't work, you start filing back, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to slot in, I'm catching my breath, I'm going to slot in. And all of a sudden you realize, uh-oh, there's only a moto behind me. That's not good.
Sometimes you get lucky, though, like this right here where it bunches up and you can just take a nice break.
Ooh, yeah, but this is good and bad. When it bunches up like this, like I'm doing right here, yeah, I'm spending a lot of energy here to move up for a couple of reasons. One, you don't want it to bunch up. Like, you want it to be fast when there's a breakaway off the front. The breakaway just got 5 more seconds on us. And I'm taking this 16 mile an hour inside line. Now I'm going to do 1,000,000 watts probably. Yeah, over 1,000. I should stay on the gas. Okay, good, I do. There
it is.
Yeah, here it is. Okay, so this is important. Guys, I could have done 1,200 watts, a couple of laps ago when it was single file, and I would have maybe made, what, Will, like 1, maybe 2 spots?
Yeah,
Max. Here I made that same effort, and when it's bunched up, you get so much more bang for your buck. I just moved up like 20 positions, maybe even more, for the same effort, because when it's bunched up, that's the best opportunity to make up ground. And it looks like everyone's kind of satisfied with the composition of the breakaway, and except me. Like, I don't have any teammates, right? I'm
Yeah,
not in the breakaway. That's not good. So it's a good opportunity for me to get to the front. And here I am at the front. But the problem is now the break's gone. And like you guys are content, right? Project Echelon, you guys have somebody in the break.
Yeah, we've got Sam Morris in the break, so we're okay with it. It's a big breakaway, but we're gonna let it happen, and it looks like everybody else is too. Like you just got leash here. You get to dangle.
Right, and like so I'm on the front here, and I'm not gonna chase back a breakaway of 10 riders.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like 8 or 10 at this point. That's just not gonna happen. A, I'm not strong enough, and B, like, why would I do that? Like, I don't have any teammates. Who am I doing that for? I don't even know. I didn't even realize I had a gap through here. But check out the speed difference. A minute ago, we were going through these corners at 17 miles an hour. Now I just did that last one, which is even more technical at the bottom of the hill, at 27. And I want you guys to look. I'm gonna pull up my Strava here, and we're gonna look at the power. We're gonna look at the power. We're gonna look at the heart rate, and we're also gonna look at the cadence. I think it's all really telling. And bear with me. It's a little bit technical, but I want you guys to understand that it doesn't always make sense to be in the draft. I know it's so counterintuitive, right? Because I preach on this channel all the time. Maximize the time you spend in the draft, and you're going to save energy. And that is largely true. But on a really technical course, let's just look at the data, okay? I'll let the data speak for itself. My heart rate came down during this effort on the front compared to where I was. It was a consistent, efficient effort. Look at my cadence. My cadence is just flatline, which means I'm pedaling, which means I'm consistent in this effort. Heart rate's coming down. I mean, sometimes it makes sense to actually ride the front. It's easier, and that's what I was doing. Again, I'm not chasing back the breakaway. I'm not even. I'm just kind of setting this tempo to hold the front. Right there, you saw I just did another, 700 watts for a couple of seconds, just to get in front of these Legion riders, because Legion they have Corey up the road. They're happy with Corey up the road. They're thinking Corey's can probably win out of the break. So I don't want to be behind them where they're going to intentionally slow things down, and I'm just going to ride like my race. Again, heart rate is in check. Like, I'll do a little foreshadowing here. Will, you and your Project Echelon teammates ended up riding the front quite a bit later on in this race, which we're going to get to. It was just a much easier effort, wasn't it?
Yeah, you get to pick your own lines, stay sustainable, stay consistent here, and it is a much more pleasurable experience than getting chopped.
Yeah, so actually, speaking of getting chopped, let's actually fast forward a little bit. I'm going to stay on the front here for a couple more laps, I think, but let's fast forward and find out what happens when you don't ride the front. All right, a bit later on, I have fallen back, and my heart rate's come down, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's easier, and we're going to find out why. This guy on the left here is going to crowd me on the inside, kind of chops me a little bit here, but I'm actually fine with that because he just occupies some more space. That means I don't have to do such a hard acceleration to get back up to speed. Just another body in front of me. Totally fine with that. But here we go into the final corner, this really consequential one we've talked about. I'm going to carry as much speed as I possibly can into this corner, about 28 miles an hour. There was a speed limit to that corner, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But now this guy in front of me is like, I'm like, dude, if you're gonna crowd me, oh, and then he elbow flicks me through. It's like, if you're gonna crowd me and then come in front of me, you gotta follow through. And like, this is rough, right? I hate watching this. This is how you get dropped. If I was up against it and I wasn't recovered, like, this could have been a big problem for me.
That's one of those things you remember too. Like, the next guy that tries to chop you in that corner, especially if it's that Harley Davidson guy, like, you're not going to give him as much space as you did that last time, knowing what he's going to do.
100%. And I felt like maybe this was just my experience, but you tell me, Will, Intelligentsia feels so unique. Like, people take big, high-risk lines seemingly for no reason sometimes. Like, that guy almost dropped himself doing that. Like, I can see in the rear cam he made it back on, but it was like for what, you know? Like, that hurt him, it hurt me, it hurt everybody behind us. And he could have just stayed behind me. Like, don't worry, bro, I got you. Like, I can take a fast corner. It just seemed like people were taking really high-risk lines and being aggressive for no reason. Did you get that impression?
Yeah, it's interesting. This series, like, allows people to experiment day after day. You get to learn a lot of lessons, but when you try new things like that and they don't work out, it can definitely magnify problems, especially throughout the whole series, where people are like, this hasn't been working out, let's try a new thing, and then that doesn't work out either. So, yeah, high aggression in these Intelli fields.
And before you guys come at me in the comments, because I seemingly did the same thing a moment ago, I left space for that rider on the right, and here's what I'm hopefully not going to do, is just let the gap open. Yeah, I'm staying in the draft here. You can see the difference. Like, yeah, I was pretty aggressive. I was making up some space, but I left the lane open to the right. And then I just continue to pedal through this straight and stay kind of in the draft here. But I'm not just letting gaps open, I guess is the point.
Yeah. Or close that gap on your own. It's your responsibility at that point.
Yep. And this gap is intentional here because we're coming to this corner. You can see that, you can just coast through it, preserve your speed. Yeah, and that is just trying to smooth that effort out, not have to use brakes. But anyway, let's fast forward a bit, and see how the rest of this race shakes out. All right, so 10K to go. Breakaway is gone at this point, unfortunately for me. And we're coming through the I love this little chicane. Didn't you just love this little wiggle through here?
Yeah, it was cool. You could lace those corners together really well, and it felt great.
I did not take them well during this moment, which actually brings us into my next point I wanted to make, which is you're on the front now with your teammates. Right there you are, Will. And we're going to pop your power up onto the screen here because in case we didn't drive this point home earlier, I want to show the difference between being at or near the front in a technical crit versus back where I'm at. I just hit like 1150. I think you hit 500. And we're essentially doing the same average speed. Mm-hmm. And guys, I talk about this all the time. What is it? Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And look, again, you hit 600, I hit like 1150. There's a huge difference in the aerobic demand of doing a bunch of spiky power followed by 0 versus your very consistent and efficient 400. So you're up there with your teammates, right? Like, what's going on up there? Other than riding efficiently, what's your guys' aim up there?
Yeah, so we're just trying to lead out Cade and kind of learn the ropes of being on the front. This gave us a lot of confidence for later on in the series where I think the next day we did the same thing again. The Legion train did try to come over top of us, but we were able to sweep it out. We had Ethan sweeping really well. At this point, this late into Intelligentsia, it was nice to be up here and just being consistent because all those matches over the whole week, you've really burned your legs out on those sharp efforts.
Right. So you guys have Sam in the breakaway. So you're just up here to maybe gobble up some more Omnium points, keep it safe, keep it consistent, keep it smooth, and not do 1100, 1200 like I just did yet again in this corner. I'm looking up at you guys thinking, I want to be up there. So I'm going to make some pretty hard efforts to try to make that possible. Let's fast forward a couple of kilometers. All right, so just a few kilometers later, that brings us into, I think, 5 laps to go. And like I said, I'm going to make some pretty hard efforts to get up there to the promised land, Will, with you and your teammates where things are easier, more consistent. I got my work cut out for me because we have Legion here. I can see there are a handful of Legion riders. They're trying to gobble up some more Omnium points. I saw a couple of Blazers, a couple of individual riders, Sean Christensen. And then up in front of everybody, you and your teammates, rolling slow, smooth, and consistent, yet really fast. I realize I said slow and fast in the same sentence. Don't worry. We're doing this live, guys. Don't even worry about it. I want to be up there with you. Look at we'll show Will's power again, and you can see so much more controlled and so much more of a consistent effort out of these corners. You're going to come up to 320 watts out of that corner. Mm-hmm. I'm going to come up to 850 watts out of that corner. Yeah. So, it's time to move up. It's guys, this isn't for the win. Let's not forget there are, I think, 10 or 11 riders in the breakaway at this point, which is not coming back. But I still want to be towards the front because it's easier and because I could still get some Omnium points. Were you guys rotating? What was the order for you guys up there?
Yeah, we had 2 or 3 guys that were rolling in front. So it was me, Peter, and John Heinlein hit the front once or twice as well. Our biggest takeaway for this whole course was this straight here. We had to hit it hard on the front, doing 500 to 600 watts and staying far to the left so that nobody could take that inside of that next corner, because the key part of this, you want to be on the front for that back stretch where it's technical. You can ride at 200 to 300 watts back there and nobody's going to be able to come around you with any efficiency, especially if you've got that train lined up and someone sweeping really hard, which we had Ethan. So back here on this backstretch, we were actually figuring out you can go super easy back here. No stress on the front. And it was a great course to do this tactic on.
Totally. Yeah, you guys remember when I was on the front earlier on in this race, just like Will was saying, you don't even have to take his word for it. I was doing 200 watts through this whole back section. Even if somebody wanted to come around me, they couldn't because you occupy the whole course. And then Ethan protecting the inside there you saw for a second. But I've made it, guys. I did a couple of efforts. Heart rate's still in check. Like, I was having a good day today. It was just kind of unfortunate that I missed the breakaway. But I'm still going to fight for position. And just out in the wind like this is a little bit less than ideal. I have the American, what's that team again? He's in the
American
ACC
Cycling
leaders.
Group.
American Cycling Group, leading the ACC, kind of crowded me with his teammates.
Yeah.
And then you can see just right back to the sketch here. And, man, like, I should have just, I don't know, like, really fought just to kind of shoulder my way into the end of your train, because that's where everyone wants to be. You know, once a team establishes authority, generally at this level of racing, it's Legion. Right now it's Project Echelon. You know, locally it's us on Team Mike Spikes, which is kind of nice. But there is a dynamic that happens. I think Will can probably back me up on this, where once a team takes the front, things kind of settle in, and it's like, okay, you're the team who is now taking control. You're dictating the pace, you're taking the lines through the corners, and everyone else is just kind of fighting, whether it's individual riders or, you know, another team. Everyone just sort of lines up behind. Same is true in the World Tour. Like, at a really high level of racing, you can see the same thing happening. A team will dominate the front, take control, and you guys are in the hot seat. How does it feel?
It's nice. In American racing, it's a little different. We don't do train racing quite as often. Like, there's not these wide open finish straights where you can have multiple trains, and a lot of the teams in American racing don't want other team trains to be next to them, even though that can be kind of advantageous. Like Legion or even ACG there, you saw them kind of defending their train. They don't want anybody next to them. They want to own the whole road. And that's a very different part. And our races are technical enough, especially crits, where you can defend like that. It takes a little extra energy, but nobody's going to be choking up next to you. And it's super nice to just own that front. Although it does take some effort by like a guy on the back, and then you have to know when to push on the front to save your key guys' energy.
Yeah, and it's the technical nature of crit racing. I mean, we have train racing, but they're front and back. Like, there's trains in front of trains instead of trains on, you know, instead of laterally, trains riding next to each other on a big wide open, you know, think about the Tour de France or something like that. You have trains riding next to each other. In a crit, that's just not possible because, you know, especially on a course like this, there's only one perfect line through these corners, and teams and their corresponding sprinters are trying to occupy that perfect spot. But you guys are still on the front. You have done your duties. You're in front of me now, coming through one lap to go. You're still trying to gobble up some Omnium points or something. You still seem to be fighting up here, even though your core job is done, though, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I've pulled off. Those guys are going to handle it from there, and I'm just going to finish with what I've got. Try and get Omnium points. I think I was still in the payout for the Omnium, so just wanted to maintain my position on that and, you know, finish strong if you can, right?
Yeah, of course. That's what I'm trying to do. I mean, obviously, like, the top 12 spots are already finished probably at this point. They've already crossed the finish line from the breakaway. But there are still a lot of guys, like, you know, Robin from Legion is up there fighting. And then you have, of course, this is an ACC race, so there are ACC Omnium points on the line too. So it was competitive start to finish for sure. And yeah, of course I want a good finish, but at this point I am not taking any risks, and I'm not really diving corners or anything like that because I don't care about ACC. I'm not in the fight for the Omnium for the Intelligentsia point series. I just want to kind of finish safe at this point. A bit frustrated, to be perfectly honest with you, Will, but after reviewing this footage, like, I don't know if there was one single thing I can put my finger on and be like, I could have done that a lot better. I just make the breakaway. Like, it's tough when you're a solo rider, you know? Yeah, we rolled in for, 23rd and 26th or something like that?
Yeah, not something we can wear on our shoulders, but we finished that race.
Finished the race, which is more than probably, 50, 60 people can say, because I think that out of the 120-something starters, I think, there were probably only 50 finishers, and hey, you live to fight another day. So thanks for hanging in there, guys. I appreciate you. Will, great having you on as always, and don't forget, if you guys have footage you want to submit, realize not many people in the Northern Hemisphere are racing right now, but there is an upload link down in the description. It takes just a couple minutes of your time, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Jeff started in the back, and he clawed his way all the way to the front in a matter of laps, and I was like, wow, good work, man.
By the time I got there, the race was over, the break was gone, but we got there.
Nice.
Yeah, we had a good time. It was fun. I don't know, missed another break, got a bad lineup at the start, but was ripping corners, contested the field sprint, survived, I think, arguably the hardest course out here in Intelligentsia.